Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Storage API sync. Today, in this call, we're going to be talking mainly about the relayer and some updates to the relayer, front end and back end, and new chains we're going to be archiving. I have some exciting news to share with those of you watching and those of you on the call. So let me jump into the chat here. So as of today, we are officially part of the Substrate Builders program. And there is a blog post on Parity describing this and describing what we're doing with Kusama, archiving Kusama and working with on finality. So thank you very much, Serge and Leo for all the hard work on this. It's people in the community are really taking notice and it's helping us out a lot. So thank you very much.
I like the logo. It's really interesting, like color and style.
Yeah, we should have just outsourced logo design to Parity, right?
Yeah.
I like it too. Okay, so let's start off on the relayer on the back end. So Serge, if you want to go first, please.
Sure. So I had two PRs on technical debt for relayer, one for refactoring and one for testing. I showed you in progress situation last time, and both were merged. And also I've been working on downloading Polkadot history, and that is also done. It was done yesterday. All blocks are downloaded and verified. And currently I'm working on WebSocket support. So we are going to use, instead of HTTP endpoints on finality, we are going to use WebSocket endpoints on finality and somewhere else. And yeah, there was a bug I fixed on dev environment and test A environment related to WebSocket connection. And I can show you PRs if we have time for that. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. So these two, I think there is no reason to go through, right? Because we
Yeah, there is not much change there since last time we reviewed.
It's very easy fix. So basically, previously we had one WebSocket connection with target chain with Subspace, only one instance of this target class, and all other chains, they were reusing it, and that caused that issue. So instead of using only one, we just moved this instantiation down in the callback function. So for every source chain, primary chain, or parachain, we create a separate instance and a separate WebSocket connection, basically. And this is how the issue was resolved. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, that's great that we fixed that. What are the next steps in terms of test A? Has everything been deployed? Like the new image is updated? Is it syncing faster now?
Yeah, I think it already synced everything. I mean, last time I checked yesterday, it was only processing Kusama blocks. All parachains were synced.
It's a little bit smaller than the other, like test B, I think, but not by much. Let me open test B. So
smaller.
Test A is 72.1, like in general, and test B is 80.5. So there is a little bit of like latest history to sync from StateMine and from Kusama and Karura and some other parachains. So it's like 90% there.
So it's syncing basically the tip of the chain past
yeah,
the last
what wasn't in the archive, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And are we doing anything to? Are we periodically updating the archives? Is anybody doing that, like on a weekly basis or anything? No.
I should
Okay.
probably update
No.
them.
Yeah. I mean, that's for like you just go in and run a script, right? And then it just runs for a few hours.
I wish it was just that simple. It's a little bit more involved, but kind of like that, yeah.
Okay. Okay, Nazar, could you do that this like soon, and then maybe we can switch A to B, and then in the background we can do B, um, uh, because we're going to be doing Polkadot. It sounds like we're going to be doing Polkadot and maybe State Mint soon as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Serge. Please go ahead.
Okay. And another PR is currently in progress on WebSocket support. So basically in our, this is update for README, but this is how we update our configuration, because we have an example of configuration in the README. So instead of this HTTP URL, we replace it with WebSocket URL. And you can see that it's an endpoint to RPC using WebSocket. And we do it for all parachains. And I also added the new ones. For Pioneer BitCountry, their original endpoint doesn't work for some reason. It disconnects. So we're using on finality in this case. And yeah, removed a bunch of dependencies we don't need anymore. Some minor refactoring here. And yeah, so basically in our index.js file, instead of creating instance of HTTP API, we create this source API, which is WebSocket Polkadot.js API. And I just replaced all the queries we had through HTTP using this native API and some minor refactoring. And of course, I updated tests as well and relay module. So it was using HTTP API. Now I replaced it with WebSocket API. And I also updated those. We have tools to download blocks, to download history from local archival node. And it also relied on HTTP API, so I updated that as well. That's it.
Did you test how quickly it works?
Not really.
I'm curious, like, if we
Yeah,
don't have to reestablish the HTTP connection, it should work faster because of that, but we are going through Polkadot.js apps, so it might be slower.
I can test.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you
it's
can
still
like
in progress.
make A/B
I
comparison.
can. Okay.
Wait, you're saying that there's some overhead associated with the Polkadot.js WebSocket connection, which might make it slower than HTTP, like the raw
Not with
HTTP?
WebSocket connection, with like internal processing, but we are calling raw, so it shouldn't really matter too much. Like it should be almost the same as we are doing directly. So I'm just curious, what is the difference? It might actually be faster because we are not making HTTP connection. It's already connected.
I see. Okay, so is this just pending review right now, Serge, or is there anything left to implement?
I submitted it today, and probably Nazar didn't have time to check yet.
Cool. Okay. And then have we tested this? I guess you're waiting for it to be merged before we test it on the dev environment.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll probably want to let this one run for like a few days because it's just feels like it's a big change, you know, just to make sure that we don't have any. I mean, it seems like a simple change, but it could be all sorts of weird side effects from this that we should just observe it for a little while before we deploy it to test.
That's why we have dev environment.
Right. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Any questions for Serge? Okay, Serge.
Oh,
So
sorry, I forgot. And one more thing I'm working on, I haven't created any PRs yet, is endpoints, backup endpoints for WebSocket connection. Like for this case with BitCountry, we have the original endpoint, which doesn't work at the moment. So I'm trying to implement a workaround. So if one endpoint doesn't work, so we can switch to on finality, for example.
Doesn't Polkadot.js API support multiple URLs by any chance? I feel like it might support like an array of endpoints.
Yeah, I will check it.
That would be the easiest approach if it works.
does that mean it
Yeah, I
connects
think
to
the
them
provider can
simultaneously,
do that.
or like if one fails, it switches?
I think okay, so I think Polkadot.js API by default does retries as many as necessary, so it will try to reconnect. If we
Yep.
specify many URLs, it might try to reconnect to different ones. So it might just magically work for us. That would be nice if it happens.
Sorry, what were you saying, Leo?
Leo,
Yeah, the provider of the API, Polkadot.js, accepts an array of endpoints. Yeah.
okay, I will try that.
Great. Okay. So our primary should be the parachain network itself, and then backup should be on finality, and then are there like third backups or second backups in any cases?
Yeah, some parachains, they have their own like hosted nodes and they provide different endpoints. And there is also Patract, like another service similar to on finality, but they have much less endpoints. They only have selected parachains.
I didn't realize they provided endpoints. I thought they were just doing smart contract, like WASM stuff. Interesting.
They
That's
have
where,
Polkadot, Kusama, and some others.
okay, that's where Liu-Cheng, his former teammates, what they're working on now at ChainX, I believe. So he knows them. Okay. Cool. So, okay, so really after we have this WebSocket connection integrated and working, then it's just a matter of just adding this like list of endpoints into the config file.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so so just to recap, please correct me if I'm wrong, Serge. So we've recovered, so we've sort of gotten our head above water from the technical debt that we've accumulated over the last month or two, at least a little bit. And we have upgraded this now to work. We fixed all the bugs. We now can support WebSocket over HTTP by default. We can support multiple endpoints and have fallbacks. And in terms of the Kusama parachains, we have everyone that's live and on finality so far. Is there anything we need to update on the website about who's actually, like which chains we're actually supporting right now?
So after this, my current PR on WebSocket is merged, we will support all parachains, not just those who are on finality.
Oh, great.
So we
Anybody
don't depend
who's live.
on finality. Anybody who has like a public WebSocket endpoint.
Okay. And is that fetched automatically from Polkadot.js apps, or we're inputting that manually?
Currently, we have to maintain this configuration manually.
Okay. Okay. So when you say all, so the new ones that are not on the site right now are BitCountry and what else?
Genshiro, Unique, and Picasso.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Could you please do me a favor and just in the in that relayer chat thread that we have, or the in Discord, just ping Skylar and Todd and Diana and just let them know all that, so that they can like I know it seems redundant for them to say like, hey, this parachain's live, but I would just like there to be some communication back and forth, because otherwise it literally makes, I'm the one that has to like manually tell everybody when this stuff happens. So
But
that
we
they
need
can,
to add to the front end, don't we?
Yeah, we need the front end first
we do,
before
yeah,
we.
but I would like them to be aware of that so that we're all on the same page as well. So we can
Yeah,
just make it.
We had discussion with, because Todd sent this message and tagged all three of us except you, Jeremiah, and we
I saw.
agreed that yeah. So after Leo updates front end, we can notify Diana that we can market this.
Yeah, we
Okay.
probably will publish this in the dev environment, and I will test the front end changes in there. And after that, we move it to the test net. And once that is done, we should notify the case.
Yeah, I guess I don't want them to be notified like the minute it goes live. I'd like them to have like some heads up, because there's a lot of background work they have to do around like joint announcements and talking to these people. So it's not like, it's just like, hey, we should tell them, you know, like when it's live, we need to like, you know, go out, reach out to them, talk to them, you know, do like a Twitter post planning. There's like a lot of actual background work that goes into this stuff. So I just like there to be some communication back and forth and awareness of what status things are at, without me having to do all that myself.
Okay, no problem. I will do that.
It's just like, you know, one message a week. Okay,
No
thanks.
problem.
Okay, and then so for Polkadot, we just need to spin up a second relayer node.
Secondary layer, you mean container, separate container with separate configuration.
Oh, right, because we still got everything on one node. Yeah. Feels like these instances are starting to get fairly heavy. Okay. So we need to spin up another container. So what do we need to do to make that happen?
Basically, we can do it right away.
Okay.
But we
Can
only
you do
have
that?
Polkadot. We only have Polkadot. I thought we will start when we have like Polkadot and state mint, maybe.
Let's start with Polkadot. I mean, let's try to be as incremental and as like continuous integration as possible.
Okay.
So we're assuming, you know, Polkadot will just work when very little of what we've done has just worked. So I'd rather find out now if we've got bugs. Okay, so you can add another. So I guess that's just adding to, we don't have automated Docker deployments. So yeah, so I guess that's just manually going into the instance, the dev instance, and just creating another container. Yeah, let's go ahead and get Polkadot working on that on the dev, and connect that to the archive that you have, that you've created, Serge, in DigitalOcean, and see if we can get, once we have sort of dev, once we have the latest changes that Nazar is reviewing for WebSocket support, then we will relaunch dev with all the Kusama chains, and then with Polkadot main chain as well. Okay, and let that run, test it. And then regarding statement, I haven't heard anything back from Joe. I don't know if you have, Serge, but is there anything preventing us from just running it from source? Do we have to have a Docker image in order to do that?
No, I can try build it.
Okay.
Do they happen to have a Docker file so you can build an image yourself instead of just executable?
I
will check.
I'm pretty sure they have a Docker file. I just think they don't have an image that's public right now. Because I mean, I'd be really surprised if they weren't doing it in Docker. Okay. All right. Thanks, Serge. So this is pretty much it for the relayer right now, other than just maintaining new chains as we add them. right? We didn't have anything critical in the backlog that we had planned on working on. Okay, great. Okay, Leo, let's transition and talk about the relayer front end, please, and any infrastructure related stuff for the relayer.
In terms of infrastructure, I don't think that we have anything changing. But for the front end, I got several updates to make. Actually, we have to add the new parachains, and actually, I have to test the way that I load the environment itself to add Polkadot parachains. I think that this should be like creating a new available parachains files and a URL parameter to Kusama and show the Kusama ecosystem with all these parachains and or slash Polkadot and show all the Polkadot ecosystem parachains.
I'd rather just have everything in one. So just like when you go on like you know, an exchange or something like that, and they have like, you know, you don't have to type in like a separate endpoint to see like different, you know, ecosystems. You just see everything in one. So I just like it to be, you know, Polkadot, all the Polkadot parachains, Kusama, all the Kusama parachains. You know, we're talking to like 5 different other major layer 1 ecosystems right now that we're going to be adding support for those, you know, in the near future. And it's going to be confusing if we just have to have like different websites for all these. I'd rather have it all in one.
Do we want all in the same web page in just one page, or in some kind of tabs in just one page?
Just one page for now.
Okay.
Yeah, we can filter it out once it gets too big, but we're not quite at that point yet. I think probably once we get like over 30 or over 25, we can start doing filtering and sorting.
Yeah, sure. And I was working also in making some refactoring in the way the front end works to be able to listen the new feeds from the feeds palette and having this subspace hash again in the table. So we can make this link to the Polkadot Explorer where the block was imported in the Subspace network. And actually, yeah, I think that, I was working in that because all the other things are like tiny things, like the sort of a parachain table by the block number. And as I was refactoring the way the UI works, I was also working in these refactor intervals and changing the way that I was querying the data. And it is not like an interval now, it's like configured by the block time, actually. And I have some pending pushes to make in there. And actually, I was working also in updating the Polkadot.js, the library version, to the latest changes.
Okay, let's just talk about the relayer front end right now. So are there any pending PRs, or you're still waiting to merge everything in, or sorry, commit all that before you submit that?
Yeah, I have to make some changes to make the PR available.
Okay. And is this going to be in sync with the PR for the relayer that Serge
I was also adding the new parachains and everything to make this working, at least in the development environment for now.
Okay. And do you have any kind of estimate right now on how long it's going to take you to close this these latest round of updates out for the relayer?
Oh, I hope, and in terms of the relayer, I hope to close this between today and tomorrow because it is not so much. The most hardest part for me is the refactor of the intervals, and I am working in that. But the UI part of adding Polkadot and everything should be a new config file from what I expecting. Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you for this UI that you're working on, I'd like you to share that with me whenever you get to a version of that, just so I can give you some feedback before it gets deployed on that.
Yeah.
If you could just like take a screenshot.
I will add. Yeah.
of the UI and
feedback.
just share it in the Discord, and then I can give you some feedback on that. That would be wonderful. Regarding like having all of the different like Polkadot and Kusama, chains in one list. Let's at least make sure that we have them like grouped. So it would be like, Polkadot first, then all like the child chains of Polkadot, and then Kusama, then all the child chains of Kusama. So it's not like a Polkadot chain and then a Kusama chain and a Polkadot, like not all
Oh,
jumbled
should
up,
be
but at least
no,
like
no. I
grouped.
think that should be two tables separated, like the same table we have now and a new table.
No, actually, just to be clear, so just like when you go on, CoinMarketCap and it has like a table with like every single, all in one table, it's all of the different coins, and you can sort them like alphabetically or by like,
Yeah, I got it now.
value, something like that. That's the view that we're going here for. I'm just saying that in the default view, they should be ordered by ecosystem. So maybe there's like some hidden class or something like that, which is like Polkadot, Kusama, Ethereum, I don't know, and it sorts by those classes like by default, or IDs rather. Something like that is what I'm saying, just so that as you read it, at least kind of like there's a logical grouping, although there's not like distinct elements of the UI for those groups.
Yeah, I will find a way to make this pretty.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I know you're juggling a couple different things right now, Leo, but let's make this the priority in terms of your different tasks to get this relayer changes made, so that we can hopefully get this paired with the work Serge is doing, get this on dev, and then maybe early next week we can deploy all the changes and start having Polkadot on the site as well.
Yeah, in terms of the backend search, how's your timing in having this working, like with the new parachains and Kusama in the dev environment? Also,
Depends on the review.
okay.
I should probably
Well,
review it today. It looks pretty good to me from what you've shown. So let's say tomorrow it should be there.
Okay, yeah, but I was working like with the same files, with the same structure that Serge made, so I need to test that in a real environment.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the relayer front end, Leo?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, great. Anything else we need to discuss regarding the Kusama Polkadot relayer as a group? Oh, go ahead, Leo.
No, sorry, I was working to myself. I was talking to myself.
Okay. All right. I think we're good for today on this topic. So thanks everybody for watching. We will see you again next week with more great updates on the relayer. If you're interested in learning more about Subspace.js or the Polkadot.js apps, just jump on our next call, which will be starting shortly. Thanks, everybody.